You are now listening to the iWalter Show. Real talk about nothing.
All right, this is Walter on iWalter on Tuesday afternoon on April 28th. I just wanted to do a quick show for the afternoon before I actually head out to work. A couple funny stories, some interesting ones, and more. A friend had posted this on his webpage, so I saw it and I couldn't help but laugh. And it was on the Huffington Post Sports, and it is titled, "Man Dressed as Giant Testicles Runs the London Marathon for a Good Cause." So that was pretty funny. It says Jack Woodward never needs to be told to grow a pair. The 22-year-old British student just completed Sunday's London Marathon dressed as a giant pair of testicles. I thought that was pretty funny. So I had to put that out there real quick for this afternoon, Yeah, because I remember there was the one on Doctor Who, and then there was that one, so I lost my voice for a minute there. Hey, this was an interesting one, too. I was looking through sources last night. I got so much, almost. I'm just going to highlight a few. I'll let you know where to go. This was on the Radio Times, and it's titled, "Star Wars Fans have launched an X-Wing into space and made your childhood dreams come true." So basically, these guys actually launched, and it went up 118,000 feet. It states before it bursted and plummeted back to Earth. I guess these people are really psyched for the new Star Wars movie coming out by J.J. Abrams. It's a short story. I just wanted to highlight on it, basically. So yeah, these people actually had an X-wing wing fighter, and they launched it into space, so to speak. And you can find that article if you're interested on the Radio Times. I'm not going to sabotage that story today. Hey, you know what? I told a guy at work about this, and I guess, he probably had taken it half-heartedly. And here, lo and behold, I was right on the money about this one. It's not happening in the U.S., but it is happening in Europe. And this is from a web link called overpassesforamerican.com. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me reread that. It's called overpassesforamerica.com. So I was slightly wrong. That was dated actually April 23rd. And the reason I wanted to put this in my mix for this afternoon or this evening was that it's titled, "McDonald's Hires 7,000 Electronic Cashiers. Low-Wage Workers Become Obsolete." Now, I stated that they're going to do this because why? Especially in the U.S., it's going to happen because now that, these businesses are forced to pay more money out per employee, like the minimum wage is going to go up to $15 an hour for, basically low-wage workers. It's not going to be a low wage anymore. It's going to be $15 an hour. Plus, you got to pay for their insurance. It's going to be really difficult. They're going to have to lay more people off, and the people they have are going to have to work harder because in order to pay them the money and their insurance benefits, there is no way other way they're going to be able to handle or maintain their business. And I stated to this one guy at work that I work with, I said, this is going to happen, and here there's an article on it, lo and behold, just a few days ago. I'm going to look at a little bit of it. It says, McDonald's recently went on a hiring binge in the U.S., adding 62,000 employees to its roster. It shows a picture, and it says the hiring picture doesn't look quite so rosy for Europe, where the fast food chain is drafting 7,000 touch kiosk to handle the cashier duties. And you know what? Don't be surprised. It will happen in the U.S. That's a given. So anyway, that's all I'm going to state on that. There was some discussion from down the road where I live about this tractor-trailer accident. It's still going on because they mentioned it again today. They released a little bit more information about the gentleman who got killed. And I am looking for that right now. And if I can't find it, I'll just go to another story. Here we go. It's the Times Herald, Norristown Times Herald. It's a driver in fatal Lower Providence truck crash ID'd. Cleanup continues. So this is right down the street. This is actually going to obstruct a lot of traffic from where I live. It says Lower Providence, the man who died when the tanker truck was driving collided with a tractor trailer in the 700 block of South Park Avenue Monday morning, has been identified as 40-year-old Jerome Jeffers of Stowe. So that was the person who had died in this accident. And they're still cleaning it up. It is a total disaster. It's like not too far from where I live. Anyway, this was pretty interesting. If you're interested, I'll tell you where to go. It's the HuffingtonPost.com, and it was story. It's titled "Liquid Mercury Discovered Under Ancient Temple May Shed New Light on." You know what? I can't even pronounce that word, so I apologize. But basically, yeah, they found it was in Mexico, ancient pyramid in central Mexico. They found a mercury tunnel underneath this pyramid. So it's really interesting story. You can find that one. It's on Huffington Post Science, and it was dated today's date. So yeah, if you're interested in reading that, this temple, they found a mercury tunnel, or like, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it kind of caught my eye, but I'm not going to go much into it. It just highlights the stories at this point as I get ready for work. I wanted to just mention, I mean, this has been brought up probably a million times before, but on comicbook.com, Kevin Smith has a plan to get Ben Affleck back in the Mallrats 2. That's probably an older story. Actually, it was dated the 27th, so that was last night or yesterday. Yeah, he's still trying to pursue getting Ben Affleck back, I guess, for the Mallrats 2 movie, which probably at this point, you know, Ben Affleck could do so because he has wrapped up. They've done all the filming for the new Batman versus Superman. So, you know, I'm sure that Ben Affleck will feel compelled that he needs to do a cameo. So it would be kind of cool to see him, actually. Yeah, there's not much griping today. I don't really have time. And you know what? By tonight or tomorrow, I'll have plenty to complain about. So, you know, you never know. And I can tell you some more my old history stories about my past. Some of them are pretty interesting, but I'm not going to do that right now. As it gets closer for me to go to work. Anyway, next story. After, actually, I went right into the story. So, it's on the IJ review, and it's heartbroken rage comes out in furious message to Baltimore protesters that torched his home. It's this poor old elderly black gentleman. He's 62 years old, and it says after embers from the nearby ember fire, whatever, from the nearby fire floated into his home. Baltimore resident Edward Murray, who has lived in the city for 62 years, was forced to evacuate. I thought that was his age. I assume, yeah, he's got to be 62. Anyway, yeah, I mean, that's a shame. You know, this mayor of this town, it looks like, is allowing this to happen, you know, just to take place, having people destroy this town, and she's not stopping them from doing so. She figures that it are just, no puns intended, that it would kind of just burn itself out. But you know what? Who's going to pay for the cleanup? I don't think that anybody should. I can't say that for the people who are the victims, and if anybody's going to pay, it should be the people who are doing the damage. Because usually, when you destroy something, it's your responsibility to fix it and pay for it. Nowadays, it's like it's not your responsibility, apparently. It's everybody else's. So, this was another story from the comic book com, and it kind of caught my attention last night. It's Robert Downey Jr. talks about presenting a prosthetic Iron Man arm to a young boy. It was a really good story. Kind of touching. It does have a video. He was on David Letterman, and it's really short, so even I can read this little caption. Kid's cute, and it shows pictures. I think he just talks about it on David Letterman. Well, that's actually what he does. He doesn't really. They don't show him, in a live video present the arm to the child. It just shows pictures, but he talks about it on David Letterman. It says during an appearance on Late Night with David Letterman, Avengers Age of Ultron star Robert Downey Jr. told the host about recent experience giving a prosthetic arm based on the design of Iron Man's armor to the young fan. So that was really cool. That's basically all it says. But you can watch the video if you go to comicbook.com. So I thought it was pretty cool. The kid's kind of cute. I feel bad. I was really psyched. I saw this story, and it was from Vanity Fair online. And I didn't look at it close enough, and then I looked at it and was like, wait a minute, okay, this is not what I wanted to hear, because a show I really liked, I don't have Showtime. It is on Showtime, though. I have to wait until after it's been aired and get it much later, after the season's over. It's titled Penny Dreadful Clothing Line in debut at Hot Topic. So it's about basically buying the clothing line, the gothic look of the clothes from Penny Dreadful, the TV series, which I love it because Billy Piper's in there too. Anyway, yeah, I was like, hey, this is great. They're going to tell you when Penny Dreadful comes back, because it is supposed to be coming back for its second season very soon. But the last thing I wanted to read was about a clothing line. I have enough clothes already. I don't need any more. So I buy stupid stuff. That may be actually everything I have to say this afternoon. Again, it's going to be short, messed up, and very sweet, I hope. But, yeah. And I'm not going to tell any more stories for at least now. Maybe later on I will on myself. I'm looking at this story now. This is pretty interesting because I did pre-order that. I mentioned that a million times. And this one's from Digital Trends. This will be my last one. It says, Apple kills again. Q2 exceeds earnings and expectations. Yeah. And that's April 27th. That was yesterday. It states Apple reported its second quarter earnings late Monday. And the news was better than expected. It looks like the earnings per share was of 2.33, beating out the market estimate of 2.18. Shares of the company are already at 20% in 2015 and up 62% over the last 12 months and have jumped another 1% since the closing bell at the New York Stock Exchange. And a lot of this is because of that iWatch. So that is pretty interesting. I know the show I listened to, Rush Limbaugh, he was talking about it. He actually is very intrigued by the watch. He's a big fanboy. He will admit to the Apple products. But he was, I guess, for a lack of a better term, he was very pleasantly surprised to see that the watch has a lot more bells and whistles than he originally had expected. Oh my God, I almost forgot this story. I put this on Facebook so I would read it. I said the last one was going to be my last story, and I lied now. It's on Break.com, and it's titled, Brilliant, Street Artist Paints Penises Around Potholes So They Get Fixed. So yeah, here is a story from Break.com. They have a picture, and somebody was kind enough to actually paint penises around the rather large potholes. Yeah, that's pretty funny. There's even some water grates that had some potholes around them. Yeah, so they would fix the potholes. They spray painted penises around them. I'm sorry, I'm like laughing looking at it. Let's see. No. Well, you know what? If you want to check it out, like I said, it's on break.com because I'm not going to prolong this agony for anybody than I have to, but I just thought it was funny. I mean, who cares where it's at? Somebody freaking drew spray painted penises around potholes. What is wrong with people? But I think it's funny. I think it's hilarious. So anyway, there were some. Last story. I promise. Actually, 2 more stories. Happy birthday to Jenna Coleman. She's my the woman I love now on Doctor Who. She's the cutie on Doctor Who. She had her birthday, so that was today. It was actually posted last night, but it's today. Another interesting one. This is more you have to watch the video, and it was on Uproxx Web Culture. Watch a train get blown off a bridge near New Orleans. The train is on a rail, like a high rail. It's not even on the ground. It's on a high rail, and it gets blown over by a bad storm. Somebody actually videotapes it on their webcam, and that's on Uproxx. I promise this will be the last one story because it's pretty interesting. I will tell you where to get it. It is on metalinjection.net. And it's titled, Why Did Marilyn Manson's New Album Come Printed on a PlayStation Disc? It actually did not come on a PlayStation Disc because when I first read it, it was like, okay, he actually got old PlayStation Disc, which you can't burn to him. The reason they stated that because the back of his disc, his CD, I should say, is black. And if you remember, the PlayStation 1 discs were all black on the back, which you could actually buy black discs to burn on. And I hate to say it, but those discs actually burned a lot better if you got recordable discs. But he didn't burn it. I mean, it was just his album, his last one that he put out, that Marilyn Manson put out. He actually put it that it was a black disc. The back of it was black. It wasn't that silver you're used to. So anyway, you know what? That's a good time for me to wrap up the show. So I hope you enjoyed it, this afternoon segment, and I will be back later on.